Check, check, check. Hello, hello. Just kicking off this live stream a couple minutes late. It's been a little while since I've done a live stream, so hopefully I don't totally screw the pooch on this, but looks like we've got a couple of viewers popping in right now, so that's all good. You can just bear with me for a few moments. We'll give everybody a couple minutes to pile in as I try to remember how the hell do I go about this user interface thing. So bear with me a minute. I would play some elevator music for you guys as we wait, but well, you guys can grin and bear it. So yeah, bear with me here. Hope you guys are having a great weekend. Looks like we are live. Looks like we've got some people popping in. I can see the chat coming in. Hey, what's up, Nathan Oakley? What is up? Let's see here. Oh, Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes. What's up, Patty? Yeah. So yeah, everybody's popping in now. We've got about 70 people watching so far. So we'll get into it. Just wanted to say hello, everybody. It's been a little while since I've done a live stream, and just put out a video yesterday evening. So I don't know if you guys had a chance to watch that, but maybe we can, talk about that a little bit, maybe answer any questions about that. But really, the point of this live stream was just to, kind of say hello to everybody. I know it's been a while. I did have a few things I wanted to cover. Nothing really exactly, stringently planned out. We'll just sort of wing it, as we normally do. What's up, Noma Gelko? Yes, I missed you too. Appreciate that. Yeah, good to see y'all back. Good to be back. It's been a long road to hoe these last few months, guys. So really thanks. The essence of this video is just going to sort of be to catch up with everybody, answer any questions that you guys have. I got a private message earlier today. There was actually a couple of them, some people that were a little bit confused about the the heliocentric bombshell video I did a few months back involving the moon's misalignment to the ecliptic plane, not to be confused with the equatorial plane. And how is it possible in the heliocentric model for the moon to remain more or less bouncing back between the tropics when the ecliptic plane and equatorial plane are misaligned to one another by quite a great deal, at the peak of those misalignments? But yeah, Hangnail, sure, man, you can mirror the 2018 video, absolutely, man. Lottie says TheMorgiles, oh shill. That's so funny. Yeah, I'm a shill. I've been promoting Flat Earth for 3 years, and I'm just doing it to confuse people about the spinning ball Earth. Wow. So I guess at first I can answer some questions in chat. I'm wondering if I should put my phone number out there so I can get some, verbally speak with you guys. Actually, what I'll do is, yeah, I'll do that. Hopefully, I got plenty of minutes on my phone because I think if I use Skype, then nobody will be able to hear the people asking the questions. So if you guys want to call in and ask questions, my cell phone number, and if it runs out of minutes, then then we'll have to end that portion of it. But my cell phone number, as it's always been, is area code 864-315-7892. Again, that's 864-315-7892. So if you had any questions that you wanted to ask me about the recent video, as one of the people in the chat just asked, we can do that. Again, there was the other one, the bombshell video, which is a little bit confusing. And I'll go ahead and put my number in the chat here as well. There it goes. So yeah, And actually, I was not going to do a live stream today, but I noticed that the Globebusters wasn't airing live stream today. So, you know, I figured I'd go ahead and do it. This one will be, you know, pretty short. But I just really did want to say hi to everybody. Like I said, it's been a while. Oh, looks like we've got a call. I believe this is Hangnail, Christian. Maybe not. Let me answer this one. Hello.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
Hey, how's it going, Christian?
How's it going, man? I feel bad we haven't spoken in so long.
And now, is this Hangnail, Christian?
It is me.
Oh, hey, man.
How you doing, man? I'm so glad to see you back. I'm real proud of your new video. And I asked if I could mirror it. I actually I downloaded it today first because I don't think I've ever mirrored a video before, but you've always been my absolute favorite. You've always been the most concise, scientific, down-to-earth, factual, flat earther. So if you don't mind, I'd like to mirror your video.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You know, and one thing I always tell people, I don't know if you're aware of this, but you can actually, like, there's a way that you can add my videos to one of your playlists, so you don't have to download it and re-upload it, and the views would go to my channel. Or if you do want to download it and re-upload it, that's fine too. There shouldn't be any copyright issues, and I don't go after people for re-uploading my stuff, but you know, there is always that other option of adding it to one of your playlists. But either way you want to do it, man, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because I've been doing a lot of live streaming lately and doing a lot of like music and looking for co-hosts because talking by myself is I just don't do well by myself. I like to bounce the conversation. I feel like the conversation gets more enlightening when you have more than one person. And so, if you don't mind, yeah, probably just feature your video during one of my live streams and play music. Maybe even have Antonio come on, something like that. So it's a great video. So I just wanted to say hi, and I'm glad that you're back. And I feel bad we haven't talked on the phone in a while. I've been a bit busy, and apparently you have too. But I just wanted to say hi and tell you I love you, buddy. I'm so glad you dropped another video. So glad to see you back.
Oh, yeah, thank you, man. Thank you. You know, I guess probably the first thing that I should start out with is where the hell have I been for the last few months? Yeah, man. It's been a really rough time. You know, I was actually in a car accident on my way up to, because I've been in Florida for the last several months, and I was in a car accident on the way up to North Carolina for the FE 2017 conference, which I really freaking hate to have missed, but after that accident, I sort of got stranded in Georgia for a while, and really my life sort of went into a tailspin. I've actually been homeless for the past several months. Yeah, I was pretty much living in a hotel for the most of the time. I actually slept on the street for several nights, and yeah, I just now 2 weeks ago I got into a little apartment. And just this week, I got my internet back on. So it's, you know, things are coming back together. But, you know, trust me, man, I would have been, you know, all in the game this whole time. But, you know, circumstances have really just put me in a really crappy spot. But, you know, sometimes I think that the negative things that happen to us, the adverse things that happen to us, I look at it as a a learning lesson. What doesn't kill us makes us stronger. But you know, it feels really good to finally once again be in in a home and have my internet on and be able to get back into the whole the whole flat earth thing. I mean, I am working full time, so it's not like I have a whole ton of free time, but I'm wanting to get back into working from home and stuff now that I've got, you know, a home and electricity and cable and internet and all that stuff. So yeah, man, that's I think that's probably one of the biggest questions that a lot of people have been asking. But yeah, man, things are getting better for me, and hopefully I'm able to sort of segue back into the, you know, what I love to do, man. I just really love doing flat Earth stuff, making videos, doing the hangouts. It's a lot of fun for me, but I think it's also very rewarding because I'm able to help people, to understand this really profound deception and how I feel like it releases us from just all kinds of brainwashing and inferiority complexes and sort of, I don't know, atheism or nihilism. And it's just so important, man. Yeah.
You've always been so concise about how you put it together. I mean, I envy that. I've always envied that about your ability to just put things together in such a simple. I mean, some people say you're long, and you even accuse yourself of being long-winded. But the thing is the things you say have to be said. They have to be repeated to put it in perspective, to really hammer down how it's a delusion. It's a spell that we all were under, and you provide one of the best ways to just pop that bubble and see, like, holy shit, how stupid was I for my entire life? And that's what I've always appreciated about what you do. And I'm also, by the way, I have to add that I'm glad I'm glad to see you playing guitar again. you know that I'll always promote that. So, but you're great, dude, and I'm really proud of you. I'm happy to see you back. And you're right, the stuff that you went through builds your character. It chisels you. You're like a pile of clay, and the shit that happens to you chisels you. It's meant to happen. Some people sort of endure life. They put up with it. But people like us, we don't. We embrace it. We accept the challenges that come our way as hurdles because they were meant to happen. We embrace challenges because life and God, they don't. God or whatever however you look at it, God, life doesn't attack our strengths. It always attacks our weaknesses because that's where we know that we need to grow, and that's a good thing. Because the things you're good at, you already know you're good at. It's the things that you're not good at that it always seems to hit you right in the chinks in your armor, and you went through it. But I just want to let you know that if you ever visit New York, you have a room here for free. You don't have to pay for hotel. Anytime you want to come here, you don't have to worry about that. I feel bad. I would never let you be homeless if you were in my area. But I'm just so glad to see you back, man. I'm so glad to hear your voice, and that's it, man. I'm just real happy to hear you.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, I appreciate that. We've done some hangouts together, and I really enjoy talking with you and the gang and your insight and your way of putting things. And yeah, man, it's good to hear from you, brother, man. And maybe like next weekend or something, I'll do a hangout where I have, some guests and stuff on, and we can, like you said, I also like to have multiple panel members on the hangouts because I think it adds to the conversation. We can bounce ideas off one another, but this one I just kind of wanted to do sort of a quickie. I've got some stuff I've got to do probably within the next hour or so, but yeah, man. Thank you so much for calling in. And did you have any questions or anything that you wanted to ask me about any of the videos?
You already answered them all. I just want to know, what happened to you the last couple of months. I'm just glad you're back, dude. And I think you answered them all. I'm just going to listen to the live stream now. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I do hope that we do a hangout together. And also I hope you come on my channel too. With the music and everything, you're welcome to bring your guitar. I think that would be great. But that's it, man. I'm gonna get back to listening to the live stream. You pretty much explained what happened with you, and I'm gonna let you go, bro. I just wanted to send you my love, and I'm just really happy to see you back. It really makes me happy.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, thanks for calling, Christian. Good talking to you, buddy, and we'll keep in touch, man.
Absolutely, man. I'll talk to you soon, buddy.
All right, brother.
Take care.
All right. Bye. All right. Oh, and one thing that I was going to mention in response to Christian's question was, or comment, I do sort of, I'm a little hard on myself about being long-winded, but one thing that I found is that if you don't cover all of your bases during a flat Earth video, then you're going to have, umpteen different attacks on, your claims or proofs or presentations. And so if you don't add your caveats, if you don't explain things, from every possible angle, then you're really just sort of digging yourself a hole, because you're just going to get attacked and rebutted, and all kinds of questions, and just it creates more work if you don't, or if one doesn't incorporate all sorts of different ways to explain the same thing, and also maybe repeat the same thing a couple times so that it possibly sinks in a little better. I've learned a long time ago that people usually retain about 25% of what you discuss during a conversation. And so if you repeat something 3 or 4 times, there's a good chance that that will sink in. But my videos may be a little bit long-winded, and I am guilty of that, but there is a method behind that madness. Um, so yeah, let's see here. So let me go back up to the chat, see if I can find any questions. Looks like we got a call coming in from North Kakalaka. Whoops, I think I just hung up on them. Let me call them back. Sorry, y'all. Oh, wait a minute. My stupid phone, my stupid phone. Don't you love these cell phones that bounce signals up into space off of satellites? Oh, no, wait a minute. It's just radio frequency towers that are nearby pretty much anywhere. Let me see if I can call this person from North Kakalaka back. Uno momento, por favor. So I'm calling them back now. Ring, ring.
Hey, John, how are you doing?
Hey, how's it going, buddy?
Good, my name's Cliff, and spoken to you before, and been into the flat Earth for about 2 years now. And largely thanks to you. I know you're legitimate. You're one of the best out there, and welcome back. We've missed you.
Oh, thank you, man. You said your name was Cliff?
Yep.
Oh,
yep.
okay.
So if I could handle 2 topics, one, I just wanted to know your thoughts on SpaceX, and what do you think about the Roadster that's out there, Mars?
Oh, the SpaceX Roadster, huh? Is that what you said?
The cherry red Tesla that's in outer space with the mannequin.
Yeah, that is absolutely ridiculous. And isn't it still orbiting the Earth right now, or allegedly?
Well, allegedly they said it was going to go on a path where it would orbit Mars, but officially they said that it missed their mark and it's off a little bit. But no, I don't think it's out there.
Right,
in fictional outer space.
Yeah, and of course they said that once it gets there, it's going to, and I saw this on the news a couple times, it's going to orbit Mars forever. Right? Isn't that what they say? So that's really kind of funny. But anything coming from SpaceX or NASA or any of the worldwide governmental fake space agencies, I mean, really at this point in the game, we can't trust any of it. I mean, it's pretty clear to any flat earther that space or infinite space doesn't actually exist. And the fact that they're putting a Tesla Roadster up there, it's just a dog and pony show, man. They're constantly trying to reinforce the public opinion that, space is real and our grandkids will probably wind up colonizing Mars. But I mean, we all know that's never going to happen. Mars is a light in the sky, and they're going to waste all that money to put on a dog and pony show. It's obviously not for any sort of scientific progress. It's propaganda. It's mind control, and and actually one thing though, I actually do like Tesla Motors. I think that they've come up with some really awesome cars that are energy efficient, and all that good stuff, low emissions. And I like Tesla as a company. If I was rich, I'd definitely own a Tesla. But at the end of the day, when they use these sort of publicity stunts in order to glamorize and reinforce the brainwashing of a spherical Earth and infinite space, to me, it's really just no more than, like I said, propaganda and perpetuating this lie. And, you know, that's pretty much the size of it. But, you know, Elon Musk, you probably already know my opinions on him. But in terms of Tesla as a car company, I think they're great. I mean, I've seen some of their cars and the way that they, you know, low emissions electric cars that are really quite reliable and fast and, you know, cool looking and everything. I like Tesla Motors. And, you know, I think it's funny that Elon Musk and SpaceX would choose to take or, you know, couple the Tesla Motor Company with this whole, you know, orbiting shenanigans, because I guess their idea is to add credibility to their ridiculous adventures by incorporating a motor company like Tesla that does have some really awesome innovations and, you know, like I said, low emissions and energy efficient cars and stuff. So it's just a big old, you know, like I said, dog and pony show. So
right. How about those vertical landings of the two booster rockets? I mean, how impossible is that?
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. It really is. I mean, if you can, the analogy I would like to use is try to balance a pencil on the you know, on the pointy edge. It's not going to happen. And I don't care how precise your you know, your booster rockets or your guidance streams are. It's just an impossibility. Now, I wouldn't necessarily go so far to say as we're dealing with, you know, helium balloons, although that may be the case. But you know, it's a trick. It's an optical illusion. It's something that they've put together in order to fool people, and you know, they did a pretty good job of it. But physically, I honestly don't think that such a thing is possible. If they can land a rocket backwards, you know, like they say they do, that's fine. But I'm just not buying it. You know, I really am not buying it. I think that it's more deception, and people just gobble it up, man. People think it's great. People think that it's real. And, you know, people have seen it from standing there, you know, where they're landing the things. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's actually happening. I mean, you know, Jaron put a good analogy out. Just because David Copperfield appeared to make the Statue of Liberty disappear doesn't necessarily mean that's what happened. It's a trick. It's a parlor trick, and that's pretty much the size of it, man.
Right.
Yeah.
And make a commuter jet disappear too, and yeah, obviously that didn't really happen. Well, one question I'd like to hear your thoughts on, and this is one kind of sticking point that I come against as far as the flat Earth theory. It's the Antarctic 24 hours of sun in their winter, and it pretty much is a provable thing. You know, you obviously can take cruise ships down there. You're restricted and you are limited, but you know, there are the research stations in Antarctica, and I actually know a guy whose brother-in-law is a scientist and has spent time there, and he can testify to the fact that they do have 24 hours of sunlight, not necessarily visible sun, but in the flat Earth model, with Antarctica being in one spot on the huge outer perimeter, that's a problem with the sun circulating and moving away from that location. What are your thoughts on the possibilities of what causes that in Antarctica?
Yeah, and you know, that's a really good question, man. You know, the first thing that I would say is, frankly, we really don't have a working flat Earth model. I know that people like Bob and Cami and Steve Torrance and Dr. Zach and plenty of other people are working out, you know, more precise or more accurate flat Earth models. But, you know, other than that, I really think that the crux of this that I would argue is that, one, we really don't know what the sun is. We don't know exactly how far away it is. And the thing is, let's just say hypothetically, oh, yeah, I just got tripped over. Hypothetically, let's just say that the 24-hour sunlight in the Antarctic during the you know, the southern winter is true. Frankly, I don't see that as a deal breaker for flat Earth at all. because frankly, the Earth has no curvature and it's not spinning, so we know it's not a spinning ball. But the mechanisms of how that would work, let's assuming that it's true, I would say that it has a lot to do with the magnetic field of the flat Earth, as well as things like refraction. But um, you know, I just don't see it as a deal breaker. I mean, to say that the 24-hour sun in the Antarctic proves a globe Earth to me is just asinine because, first of all, like I said, if you to prove a globe Earth, you'd have to prove curvature and you'd have to prove that the Earth is in constant motion, rotational and orbital and all that stuff, flying in multiple different directions along curved linear paths at mind-boggling speeds. I mean, all of that has been debunked. I mean, there's no motion to the Earth, and it's not a sphere. But to answer your question, I do believe that even assuming something like an AE projection, which is not a model, but assuming a layout that's similar to an AE projection, something like the 24-hour sun in the Antarctic, I believe, is possible. Again, just due to the way that light behaves when passing through magnetic fields, when passing through different layers of atmosphere. And again, we really don't know what the sun is. Now, another thing, and again, I'm not calling your friend that's been there a liar or anything, but Jeranism did a couple of really good videos showing that all of the time-lapse photography of the southern winter in the South Polar region, they're usually missing about 8 or I think 8 hours or something like that out of every single day as a rule. So there's definitely something going on there. Uh, there's something going on. But in terms of how that works, I'm not going to venture to say how it works. But I would just say that I strongly believe that if it's true, then it would have to do with the magnetic field of the Earth causing, perturbing light and bending light in such a way that it allows for this. Um, for example, and I guess I should probably throw up some images, but I don't have anything queued up for that. If we assume that the magnetic field of the Earth above the flat Earth is sort of a torus shape, or like I don't know, a hemisphere above and around the Earth, then it's not a huge leap to say that sunlight could be visible along that outer ring, if you will, 24 hours a day during the southern summer, still upon a flat Earth. I just do not see that as any sort of deal breaker whatsoever for flat Earth. And in fact, the only deal breakers for flat Earth that I could possibly imagine would be if someone could prove curvature for starters, and then of course all of those motions. Now, we have a lot of work that needs to be done in terms of fleshing out the edges of the Antarctic, and frankly, that's not possible with the Antarctic treaties in place. Now, like you said, we are allowed to travel to certain locations in the Antarctic, but once we get there, people are not allowed to free roam around outside of that one single spot. So I would say that it's entirely possible for whoever they are, to put some deception in there. I mean, I wouldn't go so far as to say to add fake sunlight into the mix, but anything's possible. And that may sound a little paranoid and conspiracy theoritorial, but at the end of the day, like I said, I think that if we were allowed to do a full geodetic or geodesic survey of the far southern regions and have lots of unbiased, credible people who do not work for NASA and do not work for any, governmentally sponsored agency. Regular people to go down there, get the funding that we need to do observations, experiments. I think that, something like the southern 24-hour sun phenomenon could be explained if only we had the ability to do scientific experiments and observations for at least a couple years down there. But unfortunately, again, we're pretty much isolated to certain spots and not allowed to free roam from those spots. And frankly, I don't think there's too many scientists in the southern hemisphere or in the South Polar region that are trying to disprove a globe Earth. So not at this point anyway. But I hope, does that answer your question at all? I mean, I hope that doesn't seem too evasive, but
No, that's pretty good. And just want to throw a couple comments out there. When I look up at a clear sky at night, I do not believe that those stars I see are 24 to 26 trillion miles away.
right.
And I absolutely don't think, like when Admiral Byrd went to the Antarctic, when he took his expedition down there, that those ships started in the northern fingers in the air hemisphere and rode down past the equator and ended up upside down in the bottom of the Earth. I mean, if you believe that, I think that's ridiculous. Flat Earthers get ridiculed and mocked for what they think, but everything that a glober believes is just ridiculous when you think about it. If you actually have some independent thought and take the time to look into it, that is what is absurd.
Yeah. Now, in terms of them, the Admiral Byrd Operation High Jump back in, what was it, the 1940s or so? I forget the exact year.
I think it was slightly after World War II, just after World War II.
Right. So, but there's ships, assuming a globe Earth and handing the globe Earth theory everything that they claim for argument's sake, those ships wouldn't be upside down, because no matter where you are on the ball, you're always going to be at the top of the world right side up. But the problem that I do have, there's a few problems that I have with the Operation High Jump information that we have. And of course, the government, which means mind control etymologically, they're going to give us the version of the story that they want us to hear. And even with that being said, Admiral Byrd alluded to several things, several items that, quite frankly, disagreed with the ball Earth model. I mean, I think one of them was that they found a continental landmass larger than the United States south of the South Pole from Little America. And that means that, there should be a very large continent, on the other side of the South Pole from Little America. And as far as we know, there's no room for that on the globe. Such a thing is not there. But if you assume a flat Earth, then that means, and this is something that I've pretty much assumed for years, is that there is more land out there. And of course, if we're stuck to or confined to a ball Earth, then there's no room for anything else. I mean, it's a closed system where you can only go so far. There's only so much room. And on a flat Earth, I think it's very possible, and in fact, I think it's highly likely that there's a great deal more land out there and down there than we've been led to believe. Another piece of information that came from High Jump that I thought was really interesting is that they found warm water regions with, I think it was 80-degree water or something down there. And, yes. And, the whole High Jump thing, for all we know, Admiral Byrd found some really profound stuff down there. He had imagined, and this is something that is really fishy to me as well, if the Antarctic is rich in all sorts of valuable resources, petroleum and coal and probably gold, plutonium, and God knows, I mean, it's an entire huge area full of untapped resources, whether the Earth is a ball or flat. Admiral Byrd predicted that the South Polar region would be extremely busy with corporate traffic and homesteading and development and resorts and vacation spots. Frankly, we should be mining the crap out of Antarctica, even to this day. We've been through energy crises, and let's not forget all of the off-coast oil spills and the huge debacle that was in the Gulf of Mexico, where that whole pipeline burst and just was spewing billions of gallons or whatever of crude oil into the Gulf of Mexico. If we were to really be smart, There's no reason as a society, whether it's the Americans or whether it's the Russians or and China or whomever, um, there's no reason why we shouldn't be out there mining for these resources. Look at the mountains in Virginia where they're strip mining the mountains, blowing away huge sections of mountains to get at the last little bits of coal and stuff that are in there. We've got fracking, we've got offshore drilling. That's a huge detriment to our local ecosystem, the worldwide ecosystem, wildlife, our health. And if we were able, and we are able with our technology, to really capitalize on what's going on, or the resources that are available in the Antarctic, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever why it's off limits to corporate activity, government activity, and it's only, the only people that can go down there are small groups of scientists for scientific purposes, but tapping the resources of Antarctica is completely off limits. Now, that makes absolutely no sense in spite of all the things I mentioned with energy crises and stuff. To me, that's a huge red flag because corporations are, they spend billions of dollars. I don't even know how much. You could probably pull up some figures, but they spend untold amounts of money, exploring new avenues to get at the energy within the Earth. And the Antarctic would be the perfect place. I mean, there's no indigenous wildlife. There are no people living down there. It's far enough away from pretty much any continent except for the very southern tip of South America that it wouldn't affect anybody, even if they spilt all the oil that they drilled out of there. It wouldn't affect anybody locally. Sure, it would have detrimental effects to the environment in the long run, but yeah, it's a huge red flag. It really is. Even Admiral Byrd himself, like I said, he had predicted that the Antarctic would be extremely busy, especially by this point in the game, and yet we're no further along in terms of tapping those resources than we were going on 100 years ago. So yeah, it's very fishy. And I think that Admiral Byrd also alluded to some other really interesting things. And of course, they had him committed, said he was insane. And that's a shame. But I think that the only way that we're going to be able to really go down there, tap the resources of the Antarctic, is to abolish the Antarctic Treaty. And frankly, that's never going to happen because the world governments obviously know that the key to unlocking the flat Earth model is definitely in the far southern regions. And I think that that is absolutely the reason why it's pretty much off limits for corporate activity. And, granted, I'm no big, huge fan of corporations, multinational corporations, but at the same time, the corporations I mentioned, they have lots of money, they have lobbyists, and it just baffles me why they haven't at this point, um, you know, had their lawyers and all of their lobbyists make it legal for at least themselves to capitalize on all the resources. So yeah, it really doesn't make much sense, does it?
Right. No, you think they would have access.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
All right. Well, appreciate you calling me back then. Again, welcome back. I know everyone's glad to hear from you and have you back, and we all love you.
Oh, well, thank you, man. Thank you so much for calling. It's a pleasure speaking with you. Love you too, brother. And you'll be hearing more out of me soon. Like I said, I just got unhomeless about 2 weeks ago, and I just got my internet hooked up this week. So, yeah, man. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, and as the last caller said, I'm in Charlotte, so if you're ever in the Charlotte area, you've got a place to stay.
Oh, awesome, man. I appreciate that. I'm actually down in Central Florida right now, but this place sucks. I mean, I like Florida and everything, but the cost of living here is just astronomical, and the wages are not that great unless you're some sort of big wig. But hey, man, that's pretty much the way it is everywhere. But Florida is kind of really not the best. It's a right to work state. There are no state wage theft investigators, so yeah, it's not exactly employee friendly. And of course, there's not a whole lot of unions down here. So yeah, the man has an advantage over the little guy here in Florida, sort of more so than they do in a lot of other places.
Right,
So,
right. I could imagine.
yeah, man.
All right. Okay, well, take care, brother.
All right.
Talk to you later.
Hey, Cliff, good talking to you, bud.
Thank you, John. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye. All righty. Yeah, good stuff there. Good stuff. I love taking calls from you guys, man. It's really refreshing to be back talking with you guys. Dan W said, "Is weed legal?" I think they decriminalized it recently, and I think they're pushing for medicinal use of it if that hasn't already passed. But I think that it is going to pass if it hasn't already. Oh, and somebody mentioned that I got 2 super chats. I absolutely did not notice that. Let's see here. Oh, I don't want to think you guys. I don't want you guys to think that I don't appreciate it. Oh, let's see here. Sleeping Warrior gave 10 pounds. Thank you so much, Sleeping Warrior. He says the rumpus manipulates evidence and nobody bats an eyelid. I don't provide GPS and everyone has kittens. Go figure. Hang on, we got another call coming in. Hello, hello, this is TheMorgile. How's it going? Oh, sorry, I couldn't hear you. How's it going? Oh, I don't know. This call was from Missouri. I don't hear anybody on there. So if you can hear me, maybe try to give me a call back, and I will try to hear you. And by the way, you guys, not to look a gift horse in the mouth, the super chats are greatly appreciated. Although Google takes a pretty large percentage of it, I want to say 10%, maybe it's up to 25%. And it takes over a month for me to receive those funds. So if you would like to contribute, honestly, the best way to do it is through PayPal. You can do that directly to www.paypal.me/themorgile. Again, that's www.paypal.me/themorgile. I'll put it in the chat here. /themorgile. Yeah, some really good questions so far. Wow. Oh, and let's see, there was another super chat as well from Rainbow Crew Bootlegs. Do you think the kids were actually shot in Florida? You know, I guess that's another thing that we should touch on. I'll make a note of that there. Let me grab this next call. This is coming from Nebraska, the birthplace of my grandmother. Let's see here. Hello, this is John. How's it going? Hello, hello. Wow, is there something wrong with my phone? I can't hear anybody that's calling. Huh. Let me try to call you back, Nebraska, if you can hear me. Maybe I can get you that way. Uno momento. Sorry, guys. That's really weird. I've never had this problem with my phone. What do you know? Let's try to call this gentleman back. Oh, and let me put a note on a little notepad file before I forget to talk about the shooting down in Broward County. Okay, so I can't get a hold of Nebraska. I couldn't hear the guy, the person that called before. So, wow, I hope this isn't a huge issue that continues because for some reason I can't hear the people that are calling. So the school shooting down in Broward County, you know, I honestly don't know, you guys. I haven't looked too much into it. I have looked at it a little bit. Anytime that there are mass shootings, I am a little bit skeptical because, of course, it's just, to me, it's a little bit ironic that it's always assault rifles that are involved in these. And, you know, we all know about the big push for assault rifle bans. And to me, it's no coincidence. Now, if the school shooting there was real, obviously I feel terrible about it. But, you know, there are crazy people out there. And to say that illegalizing or banning assault rifles is somehow going to solve this problem, I think is extremely naive. Let me grab this next call and I'll touch back on this. Hopefully I can hear this guy. Hi, this is John. How's it going? Huh. Yeah, no sound here either. If you can hear me, will you text me back and tell me that you can hear me? Because this is ridiculous. That's 3 calls in a row where I can't hear anybody. Wow. I will try to call you back, but if you could send me a text to that same number and let me know whether you can hear me, that would be great. Thank you. Oh my goodness. Well, it seems like I can't get inbound calls and hear people. So let me try to call you back, Minnesota. Sorry about this. Sorry, guys, for the lull here. I'm just trying to be able to take your calls, and I guess NASA's done tapped into my phone, and they're preventing me from hearing you guys. No, I don't know. So we'll get back on the school shooting here in a second, but all right. We're ringing. Again, this is back to Minnesota.
Your call has been forwarded to an
Okay. Well, I could hear that. So we'll try to keep taking calls, but if I can't hear you, I don't know if there's a whole lot of sense in doing that. That's really bizarre. I've never had that problem. But okay, so in terms of the school shooting, again, if that really was true, if it really happened, and I did see some of the videos that were posted to social media, and it seemed fairly legitimate in that regard, because if you look at a lot of the other mass shootings, there's not a whole lot of social media stuff that came out that seemed believable. Now, it's definitely possible that that was a hoax. I haven't looked into it enough, but there is a huge agenda to rid the populace, rid the citizens of our ability or our right to bear arms, which is, of course, protected by the Second Amendment. The militaresque or the militarized police, organizations in this great country, they are allowed to carry AR, assault rifles. Let me grab this call from Missouri again. One moment. Hey, you're on with John TheMorgile. What's up? Really? Can you hear me? Because I can't hear you. Huh. Very strange. Very strange. Let me take it off speaker. Can you hear me now? Nothing. Nothing at all. What I'm going to do is I'm going to reboot my phone. And if this keeps happening, I guess I'm just going to have to cut the phone off. Maybe I'll try going through Skype, but then I don't think the people listening live would be able to hear the person on the other end. Yeah, Dark Star, maybe it is trolls calling, but what I was saying is the police officers, the police forces are allowed to carry AR assault rifles. Criminals carry AR, assault rifles. And so if we were to ban all the assault rifles and have everybody turn in their assault rifles, of course, the law-abiding citizens would do so, and the criminals would not. So what's happened in other countries where you've had gun grabs, I think one of the most, remarkable ones would be Australia. You had a couple of shootings by no less than assault rifles by people who appear to be not all there in the head. I think that this recent shooting in Broward County, Florida, is no exception. The patsy or the possible patsy that they have pinned this on doesn't appear to be all there. The guy that allegedly did the Aurora Batman shooting, when he was standing there in court, he seemed like he was on Thorazine. Didn't seem like he was all there. But when they did the gun grabs in Australia, what happened was violent crime went up. Again, that's because whenever you have a mandatory gun return and the guns get destroyed, it's the law-abiding citizens that abide by that and comply. and of course it's the criminals who do not. And so, you know, this is, whether this is real or not, the government is going to capitalize on this in order to once again try to grab our guns. And what this means is if they go through with this, then the American public will not be able to defend themselves from a tyrannical government. And that's the exact reason why we have the Second Amendment, because if the police force is militarized and has way more of an arsenal than just assault rifles, and we don't have our ability to defend ourselves, then you're going to see tyranny get worse and worse in this country. So, you know, I'm not going to speak at this point yet. I mean, it did just happen fairly recently. I don't want to jump the gun and say that it was a hoax. I don't want to say that it was true. But I would say if it is true, again, I mean, it's terrible. You know, you're going to have crazy people out there, but, you know, it's not guns that kill people. It's people that kill people. And, you know, if you look back at other examples like Sandy Hook with Adam Lanza, um, there's just so many things, and even Columbine, there's so many things that just seem so fishy about it. Like, you know, the accuracy of these people and the fact that they typically kill themselves after this happened. And like in the case of Sandy Hook, they claimed that the kid who probably could barely even hold up an assault rifle went in there and just shot the place up, and they found guns in his trunk. The guns that he supposedly used in his trunk. So what are we expected to believe? That he shot up the school and then killed himself and then put the guns that he used back into the trunk of his car? I mean, it really doesn't make much sense at all. I did get a text come in. Let me see if the people that called in were able to hear me. Of course, now my phone won't display. But yeah, you know, I just don't know what to say about the Broward County school shooting just yet, other than the fact that whether or not it actually happened, the government never lets a good crisis go to waste, and they're going to try to use this for their narrative and their talking points to essentially banish the Second Amendment. And this is an agenda of theirs that's been going on for quite a while. Um, okay, we got a call coming in from California. If I can't hear this one, I'm going to cut my phone off. Sorry, guys. Hi, you're on the phone with John. How you doing?
Hey, how you doing, John?
Awesome, awesome. I'm glad I can hear you.
Yeah, sweet. I got a couple questions for you.
Sure.
When's your book coming out? I'm really curious to get my hands on that.
Yeah, actually, I'm finished with it. Although I think that what I'm going to do, instead of trying to publish it, because that costs a lot of money, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it out as an audiobook on my channel, because I want the information to get out there. You know, I'm not really a greedy person. And, you know, I think that it'll reach more people in the immediate term if I just start doing chapter by chapter on the YouTube channel. But yeah, the book's done. I finished it, let's see here, a couple months ago, and I really was wanting to hold out to get it published. It still needs to be edited and stuff, but yeah, the thing's done. But I appreciate that. I got another call coming in. I'm going to ignore that one. Sorry, whomever's calling. But yeah, man, the book's done. I've spent a great deal of time on it, and I just think that it'll be, you know, cost effective. I'm not doing this to try to make a ton of money. What I'll do is I'll put it out as an audiobook and just ask people, you know, if you feel like it was worth something, then, you know, send a contribution for it. That's
okay. That sounds good.
That's pretty much how I've done all my stuff.
I'm in a household where I'm the only flat earther, I guess you could say, and I'm trying to slowly convert everyone. And yeah, I think your book would probably be an asset to that. Also, what's going on with the whole Globebusters scenario? When Jaron did that laser test, I showed up there and I helped him out with that, and I wasn't sure if you were going to be there or not, but Yeah, is everything cool between you and Globebusters?
Yeah, everything's cool with us. I actually haven't talked to them in a while. The last time I texted Jaron after the convention, and I haven't heard back from him. I did get some comments from Bob, and you know, as long as they want me back on there, I'd be glad to go back on. But we just honestly, I haven't talked to him much in the last few months. I don't know if you heard before, but I've been well, more or less homeless for the last several months, man, and
Well, I'm
yeah.
glad you got your place and your Wi-Fi up and running. That's good.
Yeah. Oh man, it feels great. I mean, it's not the Taj Mahal or anything, but you know, we just got moved in 2 weeks ago Friday, and I just got the internet going on Monday or Tuesday of this week, and of course I worked all week, so this is really the first time that I've been able to sit down and do live streams, and of course I uploaded my videos. So yeah, it's been killing me, man, because you know I love to interact with the flat Earth community. I love to get stuff out there. I really enjoy it. I mean, it's my passion. It's rewarding, and yeah, I'm just glad to be able to sort of get back on my feet with this. But you know, as far as Globebusters go, I'm happy to join back with them and everything. But I honestly, I've just sort of been incommunicato for the last several months. So hopefully, you know, we'll see what happens. But no, there's no sort of bad blood or anything between Bob and Jaron and I. So yeah, that's all good. Yeah.
I appreciate you answering my call. That's awesome. I guess I really don't have much more. You've pretty much covered everything that I've been looking for. So I'll just say thank you, and you're definitely genuine in my book. And I'll go ahead and let you go so you can have some other callers call in.
Oh, awesome, man. Well, thanks. It's good to talk to you, buddy, and I appreciate your questions. And yeah, well, you'll be hearing more from me. Absolutely, certainly. I don't know if it'll be as frequent as recently because, again, I am working full time during the week, busting my balls all week, and by the time I get home, it's time to go to bed and get up at 4:30 in the morning and do it all over. But you know, my passion is still flat Earth, and if I can possibly you know, keep my head above water and do that, I'd rather live as a flat Earth proponent pauper than to you know, bust my ass doing stuff I don't really enjoy that doesn't do anything for this movement, which is still the most important thing in my life. But you know, you got to keep a roof over your head too. So, yep.
All right, John. Well, you take care, and I'll be looking forward to your upcoming content. It's the best out there. So take care, buddy.
Oh, thank you so much, buddy. Love you, man. All right, bye. Got a call coming in from Texas here, so let me grab this. Hey, you're on with John TheMorgile. What's up? Oh, we got another one. I cannot hear you. Cannot hear you. So if you can hear me, send me a text. But maybe these are trolls calling. I don't want to, you know, I don't want to accuse anybody of that. But let me check my text and see if any of the people that called that I couldn't hear could hear me. Please hold while we have technical difficulties. Okay. Yeah, no text come in, so whomever called apparently could not hear me either. So that's not good. Okay. So let's see here. Oh, one of the things that I did want to cover in this relatively brief live stream is I did want to do a reading of some of my book. And I've actually recorded quite a bit of it. Like, you know, all of the writing is done. I need to do some editing on it, but I've actually recorded, I think, the first chapter or two. I've got it, you know, in my video editing software. But, you know, I think what I'll probably do is beyond the Antarctic ring. Yes, my number is 864-315-7892. I'll put that in here again. Why won't it let me talk? 864-315-7892. Yeah, that's still my number. And as I mentioned, I'll just go ahead and plug my PayPal one more time for anybody that wants to contribute. Again, you can do Super Chat. That's greatly appreciated. Although, again, Google takes a good hefty chunk of that. and it takes me usually about 2 months to receive the funds. So if you would like to contribute, you can do it either way you want, either through Super Chat or www.paypal.me/TheMorgile. Shameless plug there. So I'll put that in the chat again. So let me pull up my book, and I guess what I'll do is stop taking calls at this point. How long have we been on now? I can't even tell. Oh, let me go over to my nifty thing over here. How long have I been going on? I don't know. Anyway, I don't want to. Well, we got a Carl coming in from Arkansas, so we'll go ahead and take this. Hopefully, I can hear this next caller. If not, I'm gonna cut the phone off because, hey, you're on with John the Morgile. What's up?
Hey, John, how you doing? This is Hori from the Hori Sheet Show. I'm not sure if you're familiar with my YouTube channel, but I cover a lot of the channels, and I put out the best proofs, the best news, kind of just regurgitate it, and I really followed you for a long time there in the year and a half that the first year and a half of my flat Earth research. And
Yeah.
I don't want to bring up too much controversy, but I just kind of have a general question for you, and I want to keep it short. I don't really want to go into much detail. I just kind of want to know what ended up happening. I remember for a while. Now, like I said, I cover everybody. I do a lot of research and follow it very closely. And it's under my impression that you don't think that there's people in the movement that are I guess we would call them shills very much. You don't throw that around too loosely. Am I right?
Not really. I mean, I know that there are shills out there, but I don't go around accusing people. That there are some high-profile flat earthers that like to call pretty much everyone that doesn't, I don't know, fold into their specific view a shill. But no, I don't throw that out too much. Now, in terms of globe Earth trolls, there are plenty of those. And I think that there probably are, flat Earth shills out there, and I would say it's the ones who put out videos similar to the claims of, the Flat Earth Society, not to be confused with the Flat Earth Research Society, but they make claims like, I don't know, gravity's caused by the Earth accelerating up at 9.8 meters per second squared, and they couple.
I know exactly what camp you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you, and let me tell you this, John. This is from one flat Earth brother to another. I consider you family, okay? Because you do incredible work. And but I kind of just want to voice my opinion because I don't like to see a division within the community. And I think you might have nailed the wrong guy to the cross when you went after IPS, because I followed him a lot. I know about the Mad Mike controversy, and I just like to try to heal some of the division that I see going on. I know that you you had an episode on Globe Busters. I think y'all even spoke. I don't know how that ended up, but where I am is like, I used to promote. I have promoted your stuff on my show probably once or twice, and as I do with a lot of people that are doing good stuff. But then I seem to have stopped promoting people once I see the show calling stuff happening. So I wondered if you can you just tell me if you're comfortable with it? And I'd be cool to talk off air if you want. But how did that end up? Do you still feel like he's a shill in your eyes? What do you think about IPS?
Well, and I don't know, did you watch the entirety of the Flat Earth Illuminati Confirmed video that I put out a while back?
I at least watched the first hour of it, but I kind of got where you were going with it.
Well,
but I see it. I'll say this: I see IPS as kind of like me in the aspect of like, we're doing good enough things. So if you call us a troll or a shill, we're going to throw some 666s in our broadcast. We're going to throw some 33s. We're going to throw we're going to mock the trolls. And I think I think you saw him do that, and then you went and you kind of took the wrong bait. I think that's what happened, John.
Well, let me say this. I don't have any animosity towards IPS, but I would say this, and I know it is a bit lengthy, but I would just ask you to watch that video in its entirety, because honestly, for the first hour of it, I was just so mad that and as I watched it back when I was proofing it, I did get the impression from myself that I seemed a little bitter. But if you watch it through its entirety, I think that you may get my position a little bit more clear, because the second half of it is where I sort of get into the whole reasons why I was pissed off for the first hour of it. But you know, I wouldn't want to call him a shill, but anybody that claims to be or used to be a 32nd degree Freemason and claims to be a practicing witch and hangs out and gets nothing but pretty much hand jobs from people like Tim Osman during his appearance on their channels, to me, that's a red flag. I don't know how deep you are into other conspiracies, but we as truthers are up against Freemasons and witches, honestly, and that goes to very high levels. But I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't say that I'm an enemy of IPS. I mean, there's people that feel like he's doing good work, but I would just ask, without getting too deep into this, watch the entirety of that video, or start it off at the 1 hour mark and finish it, because again, the first hour of it was not exactly the main meat of the matter. But yeah, I have nothing against him.
And I thought I got the impression enough, so I had then stopped watching. But I'll give it another shot and see what he said in the later half for sure.
Yeah, please do, because I really think that that's where I cover the stuff that had pissed me off. And the first hour or so of the video, I was just sort of venting, and yeah, it may have been a little bit juvenile, but hey, man, everybody has a right to get a little bit angry, because I'm very passionate about flat Earth. And when I see people that it was very obvious to me, and it still kind of is, that the antics that IPS was involved in, and I don't follow his stuff anymore, but the antics that he was using were just inimical to flat Earth. And you know, we have to expect one thing for sure. We have to expect that there are going to be moles that are supplanted into the flat Earth movement, that are put there to divide us. And it pisses me off. I mean, I agree with you that we really all should try to get along and be constructive with one another, put aside our petty differences, and try to work this stuff out together. But when I see, you know, so many red flags and so many signs that any given person is inimical to the flat Earth movement, then I'm not going to be able to, you know, parlay with them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I see that you've got your reserves, and you've seen certain things that have your red flags up and all that, and I seem to, I'm just kind of on the other side, really. I tend to think that I've looked into him pretty deeply, and I feel like he got caught up with the Mad Mike thing, and it kind of backfired, which is why I think a lot of people have issues with him right now. But I do see, and I wanted to ask you this, and I'll let you go. I know you got other calls, and I appreciate your show and coming back on doing a live stream, and I hear you about your hardships, and I hope everything's doing better for you. But I wanted to ask you, like you said, you kind of think he's a witch, and people give me a lot of flack because I talk about energy healing and stuff. As I talk about, flat Earth, working home, and energy healing, and people really nail me to the cross for that. And so I don't know what I could see, maybe witchcraft. I guess I've always thought it might have been just him joking some of the stuff. But
oh no, and I'm all for alternative medicine, holistic medicine, and even sort of unconventional ways of healing. I'm all for that. But when somebody says, and it's not verbatim, but just paraphrasing that, or insinuates that they can give someone a brain aneurysm from 500 miles away and sort of boast about it, I don't see that as the sort of lovey-dovey, tree-hugging witchcraft that I would even remotely want to be affiliated with.
Yeah, I've seen those comments, and I'm wondering if it was like a joke or some church or what's out there, the straw dummy dog. Whatever might have to take place to do that. I never picked up for them, and I'm not sure if he knows the truth.
You're kind of breaking up there. Can you get closer to your mic?
Oh Yeah, I was saying I've heard him make some comments like that, especially when he's replying to some of the emails from the trolls about how what he'll do to them, and that's some of the things that he has said. But I just didn't take it seriously, and I'm wondering if he took it seriously, and now I'm wondering if he meant it seriously. So this is just stuff I'll have to kind of dig into. And if he says that he was just joking to kind of scare the trolls, then it might change some things about how you see it. But you know, I don't see you attacking him. I don't see you making videos talking about him, so I don't have a problem with it. It's okay to see you disagree with someone.
It was just the one video. But again, brother, I would definitely ask that you watch that in its entirety before you know, commenting on it. I'm not busting your balls or anything, but again, I think it was 3 hours long. The second, the second 2 hours, I think you'll understand why I was so pissed off in the beginning, because, yeah, I mean, I don't just go attacking fellow flat earthers for no reason. You know, we've done a couple of hangouts.
With a lot of class, John. You carry yourself with a lot of class. You're very respectful. So it was out of character for me to see you kind of attack what I thought was another good flat earther. So I had to call. I just had to call and ask you.
No.
Keep on, brother. You know, do what you do, man. I'm gonna start promoting your stuff again, and I really like what you do.
Yeah, and you know, again, I don't just go around attacking flat earthers, but when I see red flags, and again, it's obvious to me, and this is just my opinion, that IPS is not exactly who he claims to be, and I don't think that his motives or his influences are the type that necessarily fits into the flat earth movement. I mean, just one example, I think that he had mentioned one of his most influential books was the 36 Laws of Power or something like that. It's basically just psychopathic control of people through, I guess you could say, like, what did he say? Stalin communism, or I don't know, Fourth Reich, something like that. But yeah, man, no hard feelings. And again, I don't have any animosity towards him, but I just can't associate myself with him. I can't, support him or plug him. And I certainly don't want to see flat earthers get behind something like the Mad Mike Hughes rocket thing.
Yeah, I think we all backed away from that, to be honest, John. I think even when Mark and Patricia came out with it and said that nobody should donate money to this, I was like, yep, that's pretty much where I'm at too. I think everybody should back away from that whole thing, huh?
Yeah, and I never said nobody should donate money to it, but there was just so many things that were off about it. And again, to each his own. I mean, if IPS is bringing people over to flat Earth, then that's great. But at the same time, if he's setting things up to fail, then, because assuming that he is a practicing witch and a 33rd degree Freemason, which is sort of reading in between the lines on that, that's just not the type of people that I want to parlay with and I can't support. But that's just me. I don't, if somebody wants to support his channel and subscribe, that's up to them. I'm not going to say, oh, well, if you're friends with him, then I'm not going to be friends with you. I mean, that's just childish, so.
I hear you.
Yeah.
And I want to say, thanks for not, thanks for speaking your mind. I encourage everyone to speak their mind, even if it goes against the grain or goes against what I want them to say. It's good that you speak your mind. And, I just feel like I've watched him and I see him do good things and only good things. So I tell everybody else, hey, look, judge people for what they're doing. Or I guess if it's a biblical scripture, judge them for the fruits that they bear, right? So I just don't see him do anything bad. He might have got caught up with the Mad Mike thing, and that's kind of the only thing I ever saw him do wrong. But, thanks for discussing it with me and for giving me your opinion. I really respect it, and I still do, and even more now after you, discuss this with me. I respect your work, and I thank you for doing I thank you for you doing what you're doing.
Oh, well,
I had a couple of beers.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good. Me too. I had one earlier. I had a Foster's. So yeah, we're good, brother. It's good talking to you, man. And yeah, awesome. I appreciate your input. And yeah, just if you don't mind, watch the rest of that video. And then you've got my phone number, so maybe give me a call once you've had a chance to watch it.
Hey, man, I'd like to. And once you see the stuff, if you're not familiar with what I do, check out the Hori Sheet Show. People know me in chat. I do good stuff.
Yeah, I think I have seen some of your work. Didn't we have you on Globebusters one time?
I talk with Bob offline on Skype once or twice. He knows me very well. He comes to my live streams, but no, I haven't been on Globebusters. He's mentioned me once on Globebusters. He called me the betting. What did he call it? The brothel betting production is what he called the It's a funny joke, remember? But he's a great guy. I love Bob. But I hope you guys get back on the show and start kicking it, because I like those shows when you're on there and you present your stuff. So take care, buddy. Have a good live stream. Appreciate you getting back on.
All right, my man. Take it easy, brother.
Peace.
All right. And I think someone was trying to call in during that. So I don't know if anybody was trying to call in during that. I apologize, I couldn't get it. But if you want to try back, that would be cool. So in between, I forget what I was talking about prior to that call, but the video that he was talking about was I put it out a few months ago. It's called Flat Earth Illuminati Confirmed. It's about 3 hours long, so clear your schedule and watch the whole thing in its entirety before casting judgment. Because again, I was being a little bit pissy for the first hour. So let me grab this call. Hi, you're on with John. What's up?
Hey, John.
Hey, how's it going?
I was just going to ask you, what do you think is beyond? I know you've already talked about it a little bit, but what do you think is really beyond the Antarctic ice?
Well, we all have our own opinions. And my opinion on this is that, well, first of all, infinite space doesn't exist. So, we're not like a disk flying around in space. And to me, it only stands to reason that beyond Antarctica, there is much more land. And my personal view is that there are probably many other Earth-like areas, with suns and moons of their own that may be, thousands of miles south.
So our reality is finite, is what you're saying. It has limits.
Well, no, I think that it may be infinite or anything short of that, right? So, like, for example, if you were to travel south from Antarctica in all directions, if you had that many planes or trains or automobiles that could do that, if you were to travel south in all directions, I believe that it's highly likely that you would find other lands. And in fact, there is historical evidence for that. I did an audiobook reading on my channel a while back. It's called The Iron Republic. Are you familiar with that?
No, I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, check it out. It was written, I want to say, back in 1902, and it was a serial installment on a publication called Florida Magazine. And basically, what it is, it's the voyage story of a captain. Well, the guy was actually a politician, and he ended up essentially exiling himself from the United States because he had a very embarrassing political campaign due to some shenanigans that were going on. But at any rate, he decided to go and spend his fortune. He was a rich guy, exploring the far southern region. And what happened was he found an opening in the ice wall and sort of inadvertently headed through it and found an entire society, many continents, huge area south of the Antarctic that was highly advanced, way more advanced than we were in the 1900s. And in fact, they had some technologies
so he found another civilization?
Found another civilization. They had things like wireless communications. They had television.
When was this?
I think that the voyage was in the late 1800s, and the publication came out in 1902.
And so, whatever happened with this guy? Did everybody just ignore his claims, or?
That's a good question. I think this is my personal theory on it. Is that when he brought back the evidence that he allegedly brought back to Tampa, that's where he docked when he came back to Florida, was in, I believe it was Tampa. He brought back ideas, everything from women's apparel to flying machines to let's see here. There were like television, wireless broadcasts, just all kinds of technology that didn't exist when this was written. And then we saw, within the next 100 years, huge advancements in all these sorts of technologies. And so, a lot of people claim that, oh, it was aliens that provided humankind with the huge explosion in technology, starting in around the 1900s. Although I think it's highly possible that his evidence and his findings and his story that he brought back inspired and possibly even helped to design a lot of the technologies that we have today.
I'm surprised that you have even that even has gotten out, that story, because I think, well, here's my theory, is that it has to do with the toroid shape and electromagnetic energy, and all compasses point north to the center of the toroid.
Mm-hmm.
So that leads me to the assumption all energy must flow to the center of the toroid,
mm-hmm.
and then upward, over, and out.
Right.
So my theory is that the advanced civilization might be harvesting or siphoning our electromagnetic energy to provide them with, whatever they can do with that to cause them to live longer, like 1,000 years old,
mm-hmm.
and just have a better well-being and quality of life. They have no need for money, things like that.
Yeah, absolutely, and that that's a really good point. There's studies that have been done, modern studies, that show if you reside, or if organic, carbon-based life form resides within an increased magnetic field, higher barometric pressure, and higher oxygen content, not only will they live longer and healthier lives, but they will grow larger, even giant, but not like disproportionate, sort of weird bone structure giant. But
sorry to cut you off, but that's what Wakey has a video. I don't know if you've seen Wakey's video. Really good about this subject. It's called The Other Lands.
Mm-hmm.
I think somebody re-uploaded it, but he talks about the land of the giants, and maybe there was an exodus where the giants left to go beyond the Antarctic ice. But I'm sorry to cut you off. I just wanted to mention that video about Wakey. That was a really inspiring video that I watched.
Oh, no, yeah, no, I'm familiar with Wakey. Yeah, he does some really good stuff. I don't think I've seen that one, but in terms of what lies beyond, I mean, yes, obviously we have a toroidal magnetic field that encompasses the plane, and it seems as if there is some boundaries to that. But I don't necessarily think that the boundaries to that magnetic field, or the boundary known as Antarctica, is necessarily the end of the world. I think, and again, this is just my opinion, based on several different things, but it's my opinion that there are possibly an infinite number of Earth-like planes with their own geothermal pockets, with their own suns and moons that are very close by. And this also leads into the whole UFO alien phenomenon. If there are, and there's lots and lots of people out there who testify and attest that they've been abducted, and I've actually seen a UFO, whether it was an alien or a government spacecraft, I don't know, but it's possible, theoretically possible, that if there are other lands out there, other solar systems, for lack of a better term, somewhere across the plane south of Antarctica, that they would be able to travel here, and they would, I mean, if we could find another place like that, we would definitely want to observe them. We would want to maybe help them. And if you think of it in this way, in the heliocentric model, it's theoretically impossible for aliens or extraterrestrials to find their way here and make their way here from light years away. I mean, it's theoretically impossible. But if you can,
even if it was possible, wouldn't it have happened by now? I mean, if there's millions of those civilizations out there, and with millions of Earth-like planets, with millions of human-like civilizations millions of years more advanced than us, and they would have already developed the capacity for interstellar travel, and they would be all over the streets. I mean, we would be in communion with millions of alien civilizations.
Well,
that was the case.
Yeah.
But, I mean, as flat earthers, we know what the UFO phenomenon really is. That's more than likely the civilizations that are beyond the Antarctic ice.
Right, exactly. And, you know, the point that I was going to make is that it's theoretically impossible in a heliocentric infinite space model for them to locate us and get here. I mean, really, there's no technology that we can even think of that would allow for the, you know, those sort of travels and distance, unless you're going to look at Einstein's wormhole, Rosenbridge theories or whatever, which I think is a bunch of hogwash. But when you look at it from a flat Earth perspective with other worlds somewhere south of the Antarctica in some direction, then it becomes theoretically possible. And I think that a big problem that we've had is flat Earthers categorically denying aliens as a hoax, which they very well may be, although that sort of shuns away, or it builds walls between us and the very devout and you know, very interested UFO enthusiasts. And I think that if we can sort of find common ground with UFO enthusiasts in the flat Earth scenario, then we can really quite exponentially grow our numbers. Because again, if we can make the case that UFO and alien, well, visitors are theoretically possible on the flat Earth, then you know, we may be able to really get a huge number of people who are already sort of conspiratorial minded on our side. And that's what, you know, that's what I want to do. I want to get more and more people involved in looking into this. And if we build walls between ourselves and UFO enthusiasts, then I see that as a negative impact on the movement. So
yeah, most certainly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know, the UFOs, I would say they're not just coming over to check up on us on this little pond of ours. They're actually siphoning our energy. I mean, all signs point to this. I mean, that's why we have a hierarchical pyramid structure system where the masses are being fed off of as far as their labor, and there's an equal quality of life is not possible for the masses of people, because I mean, we can't see where our energy is going. We can't see energy in the air that's you know, surrounding us, our electromagnetic field.
Mm-hmm.
And if we could, I think we would see that it's being siphoned to provide for another civilization beyond the Antarctic ice. But
yeah, that's possible. Yeah, it is possible, but you know, there's such a abundant wealth of energy, free energy that we could harness right now. I mean, the technology's there. Not even talking about solar power or you know, harnessing tidal power or wind power, or any of those. You know, any of those. Just simply harnessing the power of the magnetic field, the differentials in static electric charge with altitude. It's there. The problem is that there's so many deep-pocketed, powerful interests involved with the status quo in terms of burning coal, burning oil, burning gas. They're making so much money on it. In fact, the United States dollar is tied inherently to petroleum, or the petrodollar, to where if we were to get rid of conventional, you know, gas guzzling sources of power overnight, then these powerful rich interests would lose their ass. And frankly, they're going to do everything in their power to prevent that from happening. And
right.
so
I watched a documentary called Gas Hole,
mm-hmm.
and there were people that were inventing hydroelectric car engines. They got like 200 miles to the gallon, were being shot in the head and left on the side of the road.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Tom Ogle. Yeah. Yeah, Tom Ogle, and there was another guy, but they had come up with an invention that is basically a very minor modification to the carburetor, where you can run an internal combustion engine on nothing more than water. And the only exhaust is essentially water vapor. And I've put forth the theory based on a lot of evidence that what we know as chemtrails are actually the major jetliners using this technology in order to run their planes on water. And of course, the exhaust from that would be water vapor. And so you've got your quote unquote chemtrails creating clouds. And to me, that's a very good possibility. They would never tell us, but you know, that sort of thing we should have had. I think Tom Ogle did it in the 60s or 70s. There was a guy before him that had a similar invention, and yeah, they both wound up, well, at least Tom Ogle wound up suicided, and the patent for his invention got bought up by, I want to say, General Motors, and then we never saw anything of it again. And so it makes a lot of sense to me that the large airliners would capitalize on this technology, keep it a secret, keep jacking up our ticket prices, and simply refuel their planes on water. And makes perfect sense to me. It really does.
Well, I mean, Tesla should have been given free reign. Tesla should have been given limitless funding.
Mm-hmm.
Really. Instead of Morgan pulling the funding out from under him. I mean, because then we could have mostly all of our devices powered by the ether, more than likely, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly right. And you know, Tesla had come up with inventions, you know, everything from wireless communications, something that could support like the World Wide Web wirelessly, wireless electricity, free energy devices that you know, basically perpetual energy devices that could run everything for free. And he wanted to roll out these technologies, these energy technologies, free for everyone. And people like J.P. Morgan and all the other usual suspects made sure that his inventions were not, that never saw the light of day. Now, what I believe is sometime prior to Tesla's death, or possibly right after his death, what happened was the federal government seized all of his property under the something like Alien During Wartime Act, even though he was a United States citizen. Um, and it really makes a lot of sense that they took his technologies, took his patents, and they use it to their own personal benefit, but they're not going to allow, you know, the average person to utilize that in their automobile. But you know, I've spoken about this to electrical engineers and auto mechanics, and there's actually a couple of people that I've spoken with that have told me, and I don't know if they're lying, but they've told me that they've been able to achieve this, I guess, Winnipeg carburetor or adjustment to the carburetor that allows the internal combustion engine to run on water, because you know water is H2O, it's hydrogen and oxygen. Both of those are extremely combustible gases, especially oxygen. And the fact is what's going on inside of an internal combustion engine is simply an explosion. And what the carburetor does is it separates out the oxygen molecules with a certain mix of vapor, and the oxygen molecules or oxygen atoms rather, inside of the combustion chamber explode, push the pistons, turn the motor, and it's really quite simple. But for some reason, that they have forced us into a situation where we have to pay sometimes $3 and $4 a gallon for gas. And something even more simple than this is the diesel engine. The German guy named Diesel back in the late 1800s invented the diesel engine to run on nothing more than processed peanut oil. And for some reason, you know, we did away with that, and now we have diesel petroleum, you know, diesel gasoline. But in fact, you can even take any standard diesel and run it on fryer grease that's been sort of filtered and processed a little bit, or peanut oil, or whatever. And so there are many options as opposed to petroleum. But unfortunately, like I said, there's just too much money in it for the oligarchs. So.
Well, I just want to draw your attention to something somebody just put in the chat. Stargazer Jim says the ether doesn't exist. What do you think about that?
The ether doesn't exist. Well, you know, that's according to Einstein. But prior,
Tesla would have a different opinion about that.
right? Yeah, absolutely. And of course, Isaac Newton, the entire basis for modern physics relied on the ether being there. And
well, that was the Michelson-Morley experiment, right? The Michelson-Morley experiment was testing the ether. Isn't that right?
Well, the Michelson-Morley experiment, I think it had something to do with that, but more or less it was to prove the motion of the Earth, and they found that the Earth was motionless during that. But yeah, I believe that the ether had something to do with it as well. It's been a while. I'm a little bit rusty on the Michelson-Morley stuff, but yeah, I mean, the whole thing is Einstein sort of did away with many of the laws of physics that we had built all of the the Industrial Revolution on, and he did away with that with theory and relativity, and basically said that up in space it's just a vacuum and that there is no ether. But um, to me, that's sort of neither here nor there. I mean, it's an interesting conversation to have, obviously, but in terms of flat Earth, we tend to get off on these tangents where you can sort of endlessly debate, and I'm probably not smart enough to get all the technical details right. But at the end of the day, if there's no curvature to the Earth and it's not spinning, and space is fake, then I would say that the infinite vacuum of space doesn't exist, and something like a medium like the ether up there is far more likely than the infinite vacuum of space as they claim. So yeah.
Well, I mean, there was the substance behind Tesla's limitless energy divided. The Gordon Tiff, what was it? Gordon Cliff Towers, the tower he was building.
Tesla.
I haven't done much research on the fine particulars about how Tesla was trying to achieve that. But here's the real kicker: is if he would have made some aircraft that could have that you wouldn't have to stop and refuel or stop and recharge some type of battery.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What he
make the trip beyond the Antarctic ice. You see what I'm getting at with that?
Right. Well, in terms of Tesla's perpetual energy device, he could. It is claimed, and I don't see any reason not to believe it, but that he could deliver electricity, to an airplane in flight or a car driving down the road from pretty much anywhere in the world, or at least have arrays of these towers. And it's really interesting when you dive deep into it. He was borrowing technologies from like the ancient Egyptians, where the Tesla towers were very similar to a pyramid in many ways. And when you start looking back at the pyramids as possible free energy devices, then it really starts to make a lot of sense. But yeah, Tesla definitely had that.
That's exactly what they were. I watched a documentary on that. But let me wrap this up here, man. I want to ask you to put that, if you could, put the link in the chat to what you were talking about earlier with the guy that discovered the advanced civilization. Because I would be very interested in that, seeing that.
Oh, yeah. Again, if you go on my channel, and you can just search for it, or just search YouTube for the Iron Republic. I did a full audiobook reading of it. I think it was like a 6-part serial installment in Florida Magazine. But yeah, it's really interesting. And I'm not going to go and say that it's 100% true. I don't know. But it was really interesting because some of the things that were mentioned in that book were technologies that didn't exist at the time. So like, how would this guy back in the late 1800s have known about claimed flying machines and claimed wireless communications and television screens and just all kinds of technologies that were not in existence at the time of his voyage, came back and was reporting on them, and then within a short 100 years we had all of that stuff. So yeah, it's really interesting. It's really, really interesting. Yeah, definitely watch it. I don't want to try to. Well, let's see here. I can probably try to find a link. I can post it in there. Let's see.
Regardless, I'll find it. But I mean, a lot of people knock me, even a lot of flat earthers, for thinking about this stuff. But I think there needs to be a lot more emphasis, or just imagination, or musings upon what is out there beyond the Antarctic ice. Because I don't know, maybe I've seen the Truman Show or the movie The Matrix too many times. But I imagine that we're in some type of scenario like that where only the elites and the owners and the people at the top of the eye of the pyramid can know, and they're taking trips over there, and the missing trillions of dollars are being siphoned off to other civilizations and things like that. I mean, we might even be energy batteries for them.
Yeah, I've heard that too. Hey, I just put a link to the Iron Republic in the chat, so it's a few things up. But yeah, check that out.
I will. You have a good day.
All right, you too, brother. Thanks for calling. Good talking to you, man. God bless.
All right, good one.
All right. So, all right. Sorry, guys. I had, I don't know if you guys could hear all those beeps coming in. I've had people trying to call in this whole time, so I'm sorry I can't get to everyone, but let's see here. I'm probably going to have to wrap this live stream up pretty soon. And also, I think my phone is about out of minutes as well. So hopefully I was able to get through at least some of the questions. I'll just go through the chat here a minute and see if I can find any. Oh, Lottie says the chat wants me to give you a wrench. You should probably listen to them. Sorry, I'm only one guy here. I haven't been able to monitor the chats. Okay, this call's from Arizona, so I guess I'll take this last call, and then maybe we'll wrap this thing up because I do have to do some running around to do. I'm going to go try to sell my plasma to get a little money so I can get to work tomorrow, but hang on. Hey, this is John. What's up?
What is going on, Mr. Morgall? This is MG42 Pillbox. How you been, sir?
All right, buddy. I've been hanging in there.
Yeah, man, I was watching the chat for a minute. Looked like you had a couple of trolls and give some wrenches out there. But yeah, bro, have you noticed that the flat Earth hasn't gone anywhere for some time?
Honestly, I've been sort of off the grid for the last few months, man. I've just now got my internet hooked up this week, so I'm way behind. But yeah, what's going on? Fill me in.
Oh, yeah, good for you, bro. You haven't missed much because the fact of the matter is it turned out to be another Antichrist movement. And you know this because I know you believe some of the Bible. My first question, John, I don't know if you know me, MG42 Pillbox. We got the tiniest channel on the flat plane of existence. It's known as Blood Always Finds Its Level. It's hosted by me and Paula, the Knowledge Scavenger, which I'm sure you've seen around here and there. And we are obviously a fundamental Bible-believing, Bible-studying Christian group. So I got to ask you a question real quick, John. I mean, you're a Christian, right? I mean, I know that I've heard you mention the Bible a couple times, but I just had to ask about your faith. Are you still a Christian? Are you hanging in there? Or?
Well, I would say that I'm a follower of Christ, absolutely, but I don't necessarily adhere to or agree with the sort of Roman Catholicism that has got its nasty little mitts in all the pies of the churches pretty much all over the world.
Oh, yeah. So in other words, you're not a Satanist like the Catholic Church.
Right. Yeah, no, exactly.
God bless you, man. Yeah, that's exactly what Satan did. Satan promised that many would come in his name, Mr. Morgall, and you know that as the Bible states that. So if Satan was real and the Bible was true, what would Satan do? Satan would try to get his hold of many organizations as he possibly could, and he would try to put Jesus Christ's name on those organizations. I mean, just imagine the crimes that we know about the Catholic Church doing. Imagine what we don't know they're doing, for one. Number two, what did Satan have those people call that slave ship a few hundred years ago? Jesus Christ. I mean, what a coincidence. I mean, that's what this is all about. It turns out that the Flat Earth movement hates that name, just like the powers that be, Mr. Morgall. The whole point of this globe deception was to take away that name, Jesus Christ. And the sad truth is that in the Flat Earth community is still taking that bait of hating that name, and they're still hiding from that truth. So I want to thank you for earlier for the fact that you were able to stand up to your claim, because you know many of these people are not who they claim they are. And you mentioned the Infinite Post show and the fact that he's obviously not who he says he is, and I want to commend you for that, because I haven't heard you from a while, and this is actually my first time talking to you. I'm a long-time listener. The best thing you ever did, you had a wonderful debate about a year and a half ago with people that aren't even worth mentioning, because they're actually trolls. They're probably the same trolls that are bombing your chat right now. But I want to tell you to keep up the good work. And the only thing that I would ask from you, Mr. Morgile, is just try to get into that Bible a little bit more, because without that book, this means nothing. Because you'll be able to admit this. I wouldn't even have to ask you this, Mr. Morgile, but if I were to ask you, what's more important, knowing the shape of the earth or the creator of the earth, what would be more important to you?
Well, I think the two kind of go hand in hand, honestly, because and honestly, if I could meet God, and I guess we all will do that someday, hopefully, God willing, everything will be revealed. But it's my personal opinion that we're living through Revelation, and a lot of people think this sounds silly, but honestly, I think that the Flat Earth Awakening is a huge step in Revelation. Frankly, I believe that the globe Earth lie is indeed the great deception, the strong delusion that we were warned about. And there's a lot of supporting evidence that I could point to support that, but we won't get into that now. But honestly, I think that if we can wake up enough people to the fact that the globe Earth heliocentric infinite space theory is 100% wrong, it's a deception, then that may get lots and lots of people looking back at the teachings of Christ and the Bible. And so I think that the two kind of go hand in hand. I'm much better at helping people understand flat Earth than I am trying to convert people to Christianity. Although what I've found is that if you can show someone flat Earth, that often leads them to a strong faith in the Creator. Although if you try to approach flat Earth from a biblical standpoint only, then you're going to lose the attention of a lot of people. And that may sound cowardly, but I try to do things as most effectively as possible. And so if I can open one person's eyes to flat Earth, and that leads them to faith in God, whatever form that is, then I see it as a win-win.
I agree. Hey, well said. And just to let you know, Mr. Morgile, we have a lot in common. I agree with you to an extent, but the fact of the matter is that this flat Earth movement has a lot of antichrist intonations into it. You see, Satan doesn't care if you know the Earth is flat, as long as you do not accept that name, Jesus Christ. And here's the reality. I've realized this as of late, Mr. Morgile, is that if you cannot approach the Bible in honesty, with integrity and meekness, you can't understand that. And the reason we know that as Christians is because even Jesus Christ himself said things to the Pharisees in a manner so which they could not understand the Bible. He actually specifically sets up the Bible for people that are prideful not to be able to understand it. Now, that's something that most Christians are even going to say, no, that's not true. How could you say that? And to make no mistake about it, Morgile, many Christians are greatly deceived. And I'm not even talking about flat Earth, because there are flat Earth Christians right now that are greatly deceived, that are actually still possessed by this world and worried about how we treat our enemy, and not worried about how we start treating people that are, of course, in our families, and of course the brothers and sisters in the body of Christ, which of course is what the Bible calls the saints, the people that are going to wake up to the fact that you have to be saved, and you have to, of course, tell your Creator, hey, I'm not good enough, and you had to die for me, and thank you, God, for doing that. Because ultimately that's what this is about. Satan doesn't care if you know the shape of the earth, even if you turn out to be a flat earther. Satan just wants to make sure that you continue to mock and scoff and call that name Jesus pig, because so many people, and I'm sure you've heard this before, John, that they'll say, well, the word pig actually is what Jesus means, and the Greek 2,000 years ago, and actually, no, that's not true. The fact of the matter is to say, well, show me how the English letter J existed in Greek. Show me any English letters that existed in Greek.
Right.
I mean, that's the hilarious thing about it. If you were to take the name George Morgile and translate it to Samoan, it's translated to COC. Wrap that around your head. So people don't understand the way that names are translated. They take completely different forms when the languages change. So people are greatly deceived. This world is literally going down the toilet in a matter, no matter if they're a flat earth or a globe, right? Make no mistake about it. Not just the flat earth, not just the Christians, the Muslims, the Catholics especially, as you mentioned, the Mormons. This world is greatly deceived, and they're all failing, Morgan. I think the great deception is going to turn out to be that even people that profess that they believe in their Creator are going to turn out to be the liars. And I think we are in the last days, like you had said. We are in the inception of revelation. Time has never been greater, Mr. Morgan, and God is using you. Make no mistake about it. So that's why I want to thank you for what you do, because the God of I just hope that eventually you'll realize that it's really about that name, Jesus Christ, and all this other garbage is going to go right out the window, because as you know, there will be a new heaven and a new earth. And I thank you again for letting me call your show, Mr. Mortal. Again, this is MG42 Pillbox, and my channel is Blood Always Finds Its Level. So God bless you, sir. You keep up the good work.
All right, brother, man. Thanks for calling. God bless you. Love you, man. And yeah, I'll check out your channel, man. Blood always finds its level. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and shut the phone off now. Sorry for anyone that didn't get a chance to call in, but I'm gonna plan on doing some more live streams because I love interacting with the community. And you know, basically what he was just saying, I agree. I mean, I did see a lot of negativity in the chat based on his what he was saying. But the fact of the matter is, the the fact that we are here talking about this, the fact that we exist, is self-evidence of a creator. For example, like our DNA code is very complex code, billions and billions and billions of lines of code in every single cell in our body. We are life forms that are able to self-replicate. We're able to heal ourselves. You know, if you cut your hand, it heals up. So we're talking about biological technology that has been coded. We're talking about code. And frankly, you cannot have code without a coder. So the fact that we have life on Earth is, to me, self-evidence of a creator. Now, again, I don't necessarily think that every religion has everything right, although, like I said before, I'm a follower of Jesus Christ. And what the churches have done over the millennia is they have perverted the message, and they have co-opted the movement that was started by Christians and perverted it and twisted it into something that it's not. And so I've found that acknowledging the Creator and having faith in the Creator's plan is a really good way to live. And so, you know, as much as you guys may disagree, everybody's entitled to their opinion. I'm not going to say you're going to hell if you don't believe in God or if you don't believe in Jesus. That's not my position to judge people. But at the same time, I agree. I mean, I think that when you wake up to flat Earth and you wake up to the fact that evolution's a lie, you wake up to the fact that you know, all the major world religions have been co-opted and subverted by the powers that ought not be. There's a reason for that. There's a reason why you know, the name of Jesus Christ is sort of blackballed, and if you start talking about this, people will hiss at you and all that stuff. But to each his own. But I would just highly you know, beg people to revisit the teachings of Christ, and not necessarily the King James Bible. I don't necessarily agree with the King James Bible, but just the teachings of Christ. And, you know, one really good book, it's pretty short, you can get an audio book, is the Gospel of Thomas, Doubting Thomas. It was one of those lost Gnostic texts that was relatively recently rediscovered. And the teachings of Christ are extremely profound and really have nothing to do with most of the narrative involved with the King James Version of the Bible. So let's see here. I guess, everybody, I really appreciate you joining me. This has gone on a little bit longer than I expected, but it's really good to be back and to be talking with you guys. Again, if you haven't been following the whole show, I'll just sort of recap the fact that I've been sort of out of the mix and off the grid for the last several months because I've been more or less homeless. I was in a car accident back in November, and my life sort of spiraled out of control as a result of that. And I've just now moved into a new apartment 2 weeks ago. Got my internet on this week, so I'm back, and I'm planning on doing some more Pilgrim's Progress. No, I'm not Dr. Stephen Greer, not at all. But so yeah, I'm back, and I've missed you guys. And again, if you want to support this channel, you can do so through Super Chat, although Google takes like 30%. It'll take me a couple months to see the funds. So if you want to do that, that's great. If you have PayPal, you can support me directly to www.paypal.me/TheMorgile. And of course, if you'd like to call or text me, you can reach me at 864-315-7892. And my email is themorgile@gmail. You can reach me all those ways. What does the Morgile mean? Well, Pilgrim's Progress just asked, what does the Morgile mean? It means nothing. It used to be my gamer tag when I started playing online games. I think way back when Team Fortress Classic, which was a mod for Half-Life 1. And I used that through my ventures in the Battlefield game series online, PC. And it's just sort of stuck. I was actually going to use Morgile, but Morgile was already taken. So it's the Morgile. It really doesn't mean anything. Morgile is Schmiegel's brother. Is it really? I didn't know that. No. All right. So, hey guys, again, I really appreciate you joining me and listening. I'm glad to be back and talking with you guys. You can expect more videos, more content coming from me as I can. Again, I am working full time, so I'm not going to be able to dedicate as much time to this. But I will do everything I can and hopefully do some more of these live streams more frequently. And, God bless you guys. Thanks so much for joining. Spread the word, spread the word, spread the world, and peace. Verbally speak with you guys. Actually, what I'll do is, I'll do that. Hopefully, I got plenty of minutes on my phone because I think if I use Skype, then nobody will be able to hear the people asking the questions. So if you guys want to call in and ask questions, my cell phone number, and if it runs out of minutes, then then we'll have to end that portion of it. But my cell phone number, as it's always been, is area code 864-315-7892. Again, that's 864-315-7892. So if you had any questions that you wanted to ask me about the recent video, as one of the people in the chat just asked, we can do that. Again, there was the other one, the bombshell video, which is a little bit confusing. And I'll go ahead and put my number in the chat here as well. There it goes. So yeah, and actually I was not going to do a live stream today, but I noticed that the Globebusters wasn't airing live stream today. So I figured I'd go ahead and do it. This one will be pretty short, but I just really did want to say hi to everybody. Like I said, it's been a while. Looks like we've got a call. I believe this is Hangnail Christian. Maybe not. Let me answer this one. Hello.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
Hey, how's it going, Christian?
How's it going, man? I feel bad we haven't spoken in so long.
And now, is this Hangnail Christian?
It is me.
Oh, hey, man.
How you doing, man? I'm so glad to see you back. I'm real proud of your new video. And I asked if I could mirror it. I actually I downloaded it today first because I don't think I've ever mirrored a video before, but you've always been my absolute favorite. You've always been the most concise, scientific, down-to-earth, factual, flat earther. So if you don't mind, I'd like to mirror your video.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And one thing I always tell people, I don't know if you're aware of this, but you can actually, there's a way that you can add my videos to one of your playlists, so you don't have to download it and re-upload it, and the views would go to my channel. Or if you do want to download it and re-upload it, that's fine too. There shouldn't be any copyright issues, and I don't go after people for re-uploading my stuff, but there is always that other option of adding it to one of your playlists. But either way you want to do it, man, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because I've been doing a lot of live streaming lately and doing a lot of music, and looking for co-hosts because talking by myself I just don't do well by myself. I like to bounce the conversation, I feel like the conversation gets more enlightening when you have more than one person. And so, if you don't mind, yeah, probably just feature your video during one of my live streams and play music. Maybe even have Antonio come on, you know, something like that. So it's a great video. So I just wanted to say hi, and I'm glad that you're back. And I feel bad we haven't talked on the phone in a while. I've been a bit busy, and apparently you have too. But I just wanted to say hi and tell you I love you, buddy. I'm so glad you dropped another video. So glad to see you back.
Oh, yeah, thank you, man. Thank you. You know, I guess probably the first thing that I should start out with is where the hell have I been for the last few months? Yeah, man. It's been a really rough time.
People sort of endure life. They put up with it. But people like us, we embrace it. We accept the challenges that come our way as hurdles because they were meant to happen. We embrace challenges because life and God, they don't, you know, God or whatever the whoever you want to look at it, God, life doesn't attack our strengths. It always attacks our weaknesses because that's where we know that we need to grow. And that's a good thing because the things you're good at, you already know you're good at. It's the things that you're not good at that it always seems to hit you right in the chinks in your armor. And you went through it. But I just want to let you know that if you ever visit New York, you have a room here for free. You don't have to pay for hotel. Anytime you want to come here, you don't have to worry about that. I feel bad. I would never let you be homeless if you were in my area. But I'm just so glad to see you back, buddy. I'm so glad to hear your voice, and that's it, man. I'm just real happy to hear you.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, you know, I appreciate that. You know, we've done some hangouts together, and I really enjoy talking with you and the gang and your insight and your way of putting things. And yeah, man, it's good to hear from you, brother, man. And maybe like next weekend or something, I'll do a hangout where I have, you know, some guests and stuff on, and we can, like you said, I also like to have multiple panel members on the hangouts because I think it adds to the conversation. You know, we can bounce ideas off one another. But this one, I just kind of wanted to do sort of a quickie. I've got some stuff I've got to do probably within the next hour or so, but yeah, man. Thank you so much for calling in. And did you have any questions or anything that you wanted to ask me about any of the videos?
You already answered them all. I just wanted to know, what happened to you the last couple of months. I'm just glad you're back, dude. And I just really, I think you answered them all. I'm just gonna listen to the live stream now. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I do hope that we do a hangout together. And also I hope you come on my channel too. You know, with the music and everything. You're welcome to bring your guitar. I think that would be great. But that's it, man. I'm gonna get back to listening to the live stream. You pretty much explained what happened with you, and I'm gonna let you go, bro. I just wanted to send you my love, and I'm just really happy to see you back. It really makes me happy.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, thanks for calling, Christian. Good talking to you, buddy, and we'll keep in touch, man.
Absolutely, man. I'll talk to you soon, buddy.
All right, brother.
Take care.
All right. Bye. All right. Oh, and one thing that I was going to mention in response to Christian's question was, or comment, you know, I do sort of, I'm a little hard on myself about being long-winded, but one thing that I found is that if you don't cover all of your bases during a flat Earth video, then you're going to have, you know, umpteen different attacks on, you know, your claims or proofs or presentations. And so if you don't add your caveats, if you don't explain things, you know, from every possible angle, then you're really just sort of digging yourself a hole because, you know, you're just going to get attacked and rebutted and all kinds of questions and just it creates more work if you don't or if one doesn't incorporate all sorts of different ways to explain the same thing, and also maybe repeat the same thing a couple times so that it possibly sinks in a little better. You know, I've learned a long time ago that people usually retain about 25% of what you discuss during a conversation. And so if you repeat something, I was actually in a car accident on my way up to, because I've been in Florida for the last several months, and I was in a car accident on the way up to North Carolina for the FE 2017 conference, which I really freaking hate to have missed. But after that accident, I sort of got stranded in Georgia for a while, and really my life sort of went into a tailspin. I've actually, yeah, I've actually been homeless for the past several months. Yeah, I was pretty much living in a hotel for the most of the time. I actually slept on the street for several nights, and yeah, I just now 2 weeks ago I got into a little apartment, and just this week I got my internet back on. So it's things are coming back together, but trust me, man, I would have been, all in the game this whole time, but circumstances have really just put me in a really crappy spot. But sometimes I think that the negative things that happen to us, the adverse things that happen to us, I look at it as a learning lesson. What doesn't kill us makes us stronger, but it feels really good to finally once again be in a home and have my internet on, and be able to get back into the whole the whole flat earth thing. I mean, I am working full time, so it's not like I have a whole ton of free time, but I'm wanting to get back into working from home and stuff now that I've got a home and electricity and cable and internet and all that stuff. So yeah, man, that's I think that's probably one of the biggest questions that a lot of people have been asking. But yeah, man, things are getting better for me, and hopefully I'm able to sort of segue back into the, what I love to do, man. I just really love doing flat earth stuff, making videos, doing the hangouts. It's a lot of fun for me, but I think it's also very rewarding because I'm able to help people, to understand this really profound deception, and how I feel like it releases us from just all kinds of brainwashing and inferiority complexes, and sort of, I don't know, atheism or nihilism. And it's just so important, man. Yeah.
Yeah, you've always been so concise about how you put it together. I mean, I envy that. I've always envied that about your ability to just put things together in such a simple. I mean, some people say you're long, and you even accuse yourself of being long-winded. But the thing is the things you say have to be said. They have to be repeated to put it in perspective, to really hammer down how it's a delusion. It's a spell that we all were under, and you provide one of the best ways to just to just pop that bubble and see, like, holy shit, how stupid was I for my entire life? And that's what I've always appreciated about what you do. And I'm also, by the way, I have to add that I'm glad I saw you. I'm glad to see you playing guitar again. you know that I'll always promote that. So, but you're great, dude, and I'm really proud of you. I'm happy to see you back. And you're right, the stuff that you went through builds your character. It chisels you. You're like a pile of clay, and the shit that happens to you chisels you. It's meant to happen. Some people
3 or 4 times, there's a good chance that will sink in. But yeah, my videos may be a little bit long-winded, and I am guilty of that. But there is a method behind that madness. So yeah. Let's see here. So let me go back up to the chat, see if I can find any questions. Looks like we got a call coming in from North Kakalaka. Whoops, I think I just hung up on them. Let me call them back. Sorry, y'all. Oh, wait a minute. My stupid phone, my stupid phone. Don't you love these cell phones that bounce signals up into space off of satellites? Oh, no, wait a minute. It's just radio frequency towers that are nearby pretty much anywhere. Let me see if I can call this person from North Kakalaka back. Uno momento, por favor. So I'm calling them back now. Ring, ring.
Hey, John, how are you doing?
Hey, how's it going, buddy?
Good, my name's Cliff, and spoken to you before, and been into the flat Earth for about 2 years now, and largely thanks to you. You know, I know you're legitimate. You're one of the best out there, and welcome back. We've missed you.
Oh, thank you, man. You said your name was Cliff?
Yep.
Oh,
yep.
okay.
So if I could handle two topics, one, I just wanted to know your thoughts on SpaceX, and what do you think about the Roadster that's out there, Mars?
Oh, the SpaceX Roadster, huh? Is that what you said?
The cherry red Tesla that's in outer space with the mannequin.
Yeah, that is absolutely ridiculous. And isn't it still orbiting the Earth right now, or allegedly?
Well, allegedly they said it was going to go on a path where it would orbit Mars, but officially they said that it missed their mark and it's off a little bit. But no, I don't think it's out there.
Right,
in fictional outer space.
Yeah, and of course they said that once it gets there, it's going to, and I saw this on the news a couple times, it's going to orbit Mars forever. Right? Isn't that what they say? So that's really kind of funny. But you know, anything coming from SpaceX or NASA or any of the worldwide governmental fake space agencies, I mean, really at this point in the game, we can't trust any of it. I mean, it's pretty clear to any flat earther that space or infinite space doesn't actually exist. And the fact that they're putting a Tesla Roadster up there, it's just a dog and pony show, man. You know, they're constantly trying to reinforce the public opinion that, you know, space is real and our grandkids will probably wind up colonizing Mars. But I mean, we all know that's never going to happen. Mars is a light in the sky, and you know they're going to waste all that money to put on a dog and pony show. For it's obviously not for any sort of scientific progress. It's propaganda. It's mind control, and you know the. And actually, one thing though, I actually do like Tesla Motors. I think that they've come up with some really awesome cars that are energy efficient. You know, and all that good stuff, low emissions. And I like Tesla as a company. If I was rich, I'd definitely own a Tesla. But you know, at the end of the day, when they use these sort of publicity stunts in order to glamorize and reinforce. Check, check, check. Hello, hello. Just kicking off this live stream a couple minutes late. It's been a little while since I've done a live stream, so hopefully I don't totally screw the pooch on this, but looks like we've got a couple of viewers popping in right now, so that's all good. You can just bear with me for a few moments. We'll give everybody a couple minutes to pile in as I try to remember how the hell do I go about this user interface thing. So bear with me a minute. I would play some elevator music for you guys as we wait, but well, you guys can grin and bear it. So yeah, bear with me here. Hope you guys are having a great weekend. Looks like we are live. Looks like we've got some people popping in. I can see the chat coming in. Hey, what's up, Nathan Oakley? What is up? Let's see here. Oh, Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes. What's up, Patty? Yeah. So, yeah, everybody's popping in now. We've got about 70 people watching so far. So, we'll get into it. Just wanted to say hello, everybody. It's been a little while since I've done a live stream, and just put out a video yesterday evening. So I don't know if you guys had a chance to watch that, but maybe we can, talk about that a little bit, maybe answer any questions about that. But really, the point of this live stream was just to, kind of say hello to everybody. I know it's been a while. I did have a few things I wanted to cover. Nothing really exactly you know, stringently planned out. We'll just sort of wing it, you know, as we normally do. What's up, Noma Gelko? Yes, I missed you too. Appreciate that. Yeah, good to see y'all back. Good to be back. It's been a long road to hoe these last few months, guys. So really thanks. The essence of this video is just going to sort of be to catch up with everybody, answer any questions that you guys have. I got a private message earlier today. There was actually a couple of them, some people that were a little bit confused about the you know, the heliocentric bombshell video I did a few months back involving the moon's misalignment to the ecliptic plane, not to be confused with the equatorial plane. And how is it possible in the heliocentric model for the moon to remain more or less bouncing back between the tropics when the ecliptic plane and equatorial plane are misaligned to one another by quite a great deal, you know, at the peak of those misalignments? But yeah, Hangnail, sure, man, you can mirror the 2018 video, absolutely, man. Lottie says the Morgile, oh shill. That's so funny. Yeah, I'm a shill. I've been promoting flat Earth for 3 years, and I'm just doing it to confuse people about the spinning ball Earth. Wow. So I guess at first I can answer some questions in chat. I'm wondering if I should put my phone number out there so I can get some